I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, Wilmington, Delaware, and welcome back to our creative videos. The creative video I'm going to do today is basically how to make a blanket kit. This is going to be done with Cuddle Soft and flannel. It will give all the different instructions right there. And we have a lot of pre-done kits that are available in the store or that are also available on our Etsy store. So basically what I've decided to do for you today is I'm going to show you the two smaller blankets because I want to show you two different ways of doing this. And the first way we're going to do it is done on the serger. So come right around here. And when I'm making the smaller blanket, it's roughly 30 by 45. And what I've done is I've gotten my foxes. I think they're the cutest thing. And then on the flannel, we did a brown flannel on the back. Now today, on the serger, I'm going to be doing a decorative stitch. And it is done with 3 threads. So I have a serger that has the ability to have 2 different needles. I'm going to be using only one, the left needle. And then I have Sulky 12 weight in the serger. My regular thread is in the needle, so you don't need the 12 weight in there. So
the 12 weight is in the loopers?
Yep, 12 weight is in the loopers, okay. Upper and lower. Okay. Now, as I am doing my test sample here, I just wanted to make sure that everything was situated nicely. Mm-hmm. So you do want to try to do a test sample, particularly on when you're working with 2 different types of fabrics, doing the minky as well as the flannel. When I'm going to be doing my sewing, I have basically clipped everything together, and I'm going to be trimming some off, and I'm going to be doing the flannel as the top. That way, if I have any stretching or anything like that, the feed dogs will help it through. Now, I'm not going to try to turn the corners on this. I'm going to sew off and then sew back on. And then later, I'm going to put a little bit of fray check. It's a thread sealant, and I'm going to put those on the corners, let it dry, and then cut my threads. Alrighty, so basically what we're going to do here is, this is just nice for a quick, fast project. Gonna trim a little bit off as I go. Whether you're using clips or whether you're going to be using pins, please make sure you pull them out. If not,
you mean it's not good for the serger to cut a whole row of pins?
Not good for the serger, no. Now, because I'm doing this as a traditional serger and I'm trimming stuff off, you're going to notice I put wrong sides together for the blanket. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the one way to do it. So this is the one side, and again you'll notice I'm trimming, I'm bringing it around, I'm using my cutter, and then we're going to bring this around and do the other side. Again, I'm not worried about turning the corners. needles on your serger, the size 80 or 12 would be absolutely fine. You wouldn't need to worry about doing anything particularly heavy. Again, bring it around, cut it, and swing this around. And don't tell anybody how fast this is. Let them think you've slaved over it. You spent a long, long time. We have one more corner. And that was pretty fast. And we are done. So again, I'm going to put some Fray Check, that seam solvent. I'm going to put it on the front and back. Let it dry, then trim those up. All right. That didn't take very long. All right, so that's the first one. Now we're going to go and switch it over. So, if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have a serger, most people can fix that pretty quickly. But if you're not in the market for a serger and you just want to do this with your regular machine, come on over. Just going to get myself plugged in here. And we're just going to work with my regular foot. Now, I'm working on a Bernina that has dual feed. So with the dual feed, it's like putting a walking foot on the machine. However, if you don't have a dual feed machine, but you have a walking foot for like when you do quilting, this is the time to put it on. All right, so we're going to have our regular foot. So I have my dual feed foot on. I'm just letting the machine know that. All right. Now I've layered this guy up. And take a look-see. You're going to see that I have this time put it right sides together. And I'm just thinking that it might be a little bit better if I do white thread. So let's change that out real quick. The reason being is I'm going to top stitch this. So when we line this up, I'm going to put right sides together. Think of a really big pillow. And then I'm going to top stitch around the outside. Gotta love needle threaders. All right. Now, same rules apply. Whenever I'm stitching this, do yourself a favor, stitch with the flannel side up. I'm going to be leaving an opening. Also, do yourself a favor, don't leave an opening on the corner. Okay? That's just kind of silly. So we're going to leave this on one of the sides and leave yourself a decent opening. And a decent opening, I'm talking about 6 inches. Decent opening. I have a lot of people that are like, you know, I'll leave an opening and I'll leave it like 2 inches. Think about it. Look at the quilt. You don't want to do that. Look at the blanket. So when we line this up, we're going to start right about there. And I'm doing a fairly decent seam here. You know, make sure you're giving yourself at least like 5/8 of an inch seam. Will be good for you. All right. Wrong button. There you go. And foot up. Will do much better. And these blankets are kind of, it's on the heavier side, which is actually nice. Because a lot of times people do like the weighted blankets. So having your dual feet or your walking foot on is going to help. So we're stitching down. Like I said, we're just moseying on down here. The kits are nice. The kits have enough fabric in them to do 2 small ones like I'm doing today, or 1 bigger one. So totally your choice. All right, I'm coming around to the final side. So what do we have to remember to do?
Leave an opening.
There you go. Or if not, that's why we have seam rippers, right?
Just going to come in a little closer.
All right, and that looks pretty good. Gonna hit my reverse, hit my scissors, and I left myself about 6 inches. All right, so now I'll trim the corners. So trim them up at an angle. You can trim out all of the extra stuff if you want to. It's a blanket. I don't really think it's going to make that much difference, but if you know that if you don't trim something, you know, if you don't trim it up a little bit, you're going to twitch, then trim it up. All right. Now, we're going to take and we're going to turn this right side out. That's one of the reasons why I'd like to leave a fairly big opening, that way I can get my hand in it. And we're going to turn this around. Again, poke out the corners. Now, you can use your, they make little point turners, corner turners. You can do that. For me, my finger's working just fine. I would encourage you not to do it with a pair of scissors. Ask me how I know. You can go inadvertently through the end. If you knit, one of your stray double points needles is wonderful. Stiletto is great. Any of the above. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of clip this area closed. All right. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stitch it all the way around. That way it looks nice. Remember my rule, I'm going to do it from the flannel side. And I'm going to change it up a little bit today. I'm going to do a zigzag. And I'm doing it about 3 and 2.5.
3 in width and 2.5
yes, I'm sorry.
in length.
3 in width, 2.5 in length. You should just know that, right? All right. So we're going to go. And again, I'm starting, you can really start wherever you like. And I'm using the inside edge of my toe. So if you take a look, the inside edge of my...
All right, hang on for a second. Let me zoom in here.
Mm-hmm. There you go. You get something to point. Okay, so right there, see how it's the inside edge of my presser foot?
Mm-hmm.
I'm lining the fabric up there.
Okay.
Just to make it so it looks nice and even all the way around.
Consistent.
Yep, consistent. If you wanted to line it up along the edge of the foot, go for it. And I think it's just going to look really nice. Really
Cute.
Sweet. If you want to press this, press it gently. Because remember, the Minky is a polyester fabric, and the flannel is a cotton. So I would do a lot of my pressing from the flannel side, and I took out my... Yep. I was a little premature in pulling out my clips, so I noticed that it had shifted on me a little bit. Best to fix it now. There we go. Though if you're giving this to a kid, I don't think they'll even notice. So it's going to look like a nice
Hold on for a second.
little decorative edge.
Nice.
Could you do it with a straight stitch? Sure. Could you do it with another decorative stitch? Absolutely. Though do yourself a favor and do some sampling. Some decorative stitches can take a long time to stitch. And the whole point of doing this blanket is to get the project done quickly. And if you're doing a decorative top stitch that takes you 20 minutes to sew 6 inches, you might
Probably not. Huh?
Probably not.
It doesn't go under the, this is fast.
Yes, it doesn't go
Heading.
under this is fast. Again, ask me how I know.
How do you know
How do
how?
I know, huh? Let's just say there is a skirt out there that has a decorative flower hem.
That took 4 hours to do.
That took 4 hours to do.
Hate it when I do that on a full skirt.
So feather stitches are fairly fast.
And you would choose a decorative stitch that was more open rather than
Yes.
one that was filled in.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do a satin stitch or like a scallop. I think a scallop just might be a little too heavy.
Okay.
So anything that's a little bit more open, it would work really well. But you see, it just adds a nice little interesting bit to it. And remember, you're only going to really see your stitching on one side, because honestly, for your minky, take a look. You really don't. You're not going to see anything. So it's not worth doing a whole bunch of really kind of fancy stitching.
Do you run out of bobbin thread?
I ran out of bobbin thread, so we're going to stop here.
All right, hang on for a second.
All right. So remember, this is the one that we're going to go your regular sewing. And let me just grab this guy. And you can also do the same thing with your blanket, doing your serging. So you'll see it. Now remember, this one was done with Sulky 12 weight. And it's called Blendables, and they're available in solid colors as well as variegated. So if you wanted to jazz it up and do a variegated, you're good to go. Hope you got some ideas. And remember, look at your stash, or come on in, or go to our Etsy store. See you later.